Hello, American Patriots. Welcome to another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we have an exclusive that we're bringing to you, some information about the border, southern border of America, and an option, I believe a very good option, to help fix this problem and get this border finished before the 2020 election. I'm going to be bringing on, as my guest tonight, Dr. Jerome Corsi again, as well as Chris Barberino. And we're going to discuss this new system that they have designed and built and all the different things that are available with it, and how it's going to cost a lot less than what we currently have going on down there. As you know, I've been going down to the border many times recently. We have the entire border trip coming up from Brownsville, Texas to San Diego, California at the end of January. And we have shown that a border must be built of some sort of a wall, something, a barricade, something to stop this drug trafficking and the cartel and sex trafficking and all the horrible things that are coming across our border. We're also going to be bringing on Madeline Rose. Again, some of you have seen interviews I've done with her in the past. She is a young conservative that is reaching out to the young voters, and we need them on board with us very, very bad as we move forward to 2020. So hope that you will stay with us, and we'll be right back after this quick break and get right into tonight's show with Dr. Corsi and with Chris Barberino. Hello, American Patriots. Douglas Ducote here. The Second Amendment, it's not for hunting. It's for protecting ourselves against our government. Well, the last thing you need to worry about is your weapon being rusted and not working. Folks, here's your product. FirearmGuard.com. Use promo code DOUG for free shipping. This will protect your weapon from any rust and mildew issues.
I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
And welcome back. And also, please welcome our guest, Chris Barberino. Am I saying that last name correct?
You have it correct.
Okay. And also, Dr. Corsi's back with us. Thank you, sir, for coming back here. And
my great pleasure.
And
good to be back.
Bringing this to my attention last Tuesday. Look, Chris, this, from everything I've seen so far and everything I've heard, is the answer to our prayers on that border. I've been going down there. I've been talking to the border agents. I've been talking to the sheriff's departments that are down there on the border, state police, all law enforcement. And they are begging for something to get erected that's going to help with problems we have coming across that border. So I don't know where you gentlemen would like to start into this, but I'm going to open it up to you guys to discuss this system and how it came to be and where we're going to go with this, because I'm very excited and I hope my audience is as well. And we will push this all the way up to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and hopefully he's going to push it right back to us and out there on that border.
Well, let me just say
Thank you.
it's been my pleasure to work with Chris Barberino. This product, which I'm going to let Chris introduce here, is one that caught my attention because the whole TerraBlock product, and you just showed the video. Thank you. You can see it's rapid deployment. These are the types of products that a company, HESCO, we saw featured in the video, manufactures for the Department of Defense, and it specializes in the rapid deployment of perimeter defenses for military overseas. And so as I learned about this TerraBlock project, and Chris Barberino's company would be the one doing the supplying of this to the federal government as a GSA contract, it was clear that, when we put troops in harm's way, these are maybe our most valuable human beings on the face of the earth defending the country. And we want immediate rapid deployment of a defense perimeter that will work. And if the TerraBlock system and other HESCO products are accepted by the military to defend our soldiers in combat zones, Middle East and Syria and Iraq and other danger zones, then why couldn't we use this product to rapidly deploy in an economically efficient way on the border and get the border secure by election day? When I found out it was going to cost under $1 billion to manufacture this within the amount that President Trump already has in the budget without going back to Congress, I said, look, I'm enthusiastic to get the word out. And I want to turn it over to Chris here for some comments, because Chris represents Provengo, who is the company who will do the supplying. He's the president and CEO of Provengo, who will do the supplying GSA contract to get the HESCO product in the border for the federal government. And Chris, want to make a few comments?
Well, Dr. Corsi, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure when you have a product like the TerraBlock solution where it sells itself. You see the video, you see the dynamic of it, you see the rapid deployment of it. It's a system that works. Just to give a little bit of background of Provengo and why I'm here representing. Provengo is a defense contractor, like Dr. Corsi mentioned. We have two channels of business. We supply the U.S. military and federal government with a number of protective, operational, tactical equipment systems. We focus on fielding equipment, sustainment, fielding the product expeditiously, and putting a cost-effective measure in it. Our other sales channel, where maybe some of your viewers are going to provengo.com, doesn't say that. We've created an online marketplace for military, first responders, law enforcement, active duty veteran, retired individuals, of a closed marketplace where they're able to provide value. So our goal as a company is always to find the right solution, the right product, and provide it at a great value and cost savings. As our administration had alluded to very early on, we have a major problem down at our border. And the scope of work that was defined initially, we saw a number of manufacturers and vendors presenting solutions that were within that scope that the president had defined. We feel that this system, although it isn't in the exact scope that he identified, meets the requirement. And more importantly, meets the need that we have. And it's more of a realistic need that we can put forward. It is a system that we could field quickly. It is a system that we could deploy quickly. It is a system that stops climbing, that is anti-vehicle intrusion, that is ballistic, that has clear panels and gateways. It's a smart system. It has a PID system, perimeter intrusion detection system, that we'll speak to. And most importantly, it's a tremendous cost savings from any solution that's been proposed thus far.
That's outstanding. Right now, we're looking at, at the current rate, we're going money that we just don't have to finish the project. We're sure not going to finish it by 2020 at this rate. But with this being a rapid deployment system, look, I served 4 combat tours, and of course, I wish when I was in, we would have had this system. We had just basic concrete barricades that we'd put up, and we'd put up concertina wire and regular fencing, and we had to have people on our border protection at all times, because there was just no system at that time that would do what this one does. One of the things that a lot of people keep bringing up, and I've seen in numerous conversations, is how, no matter how much border you put up, there's going to be a way, it's like prisoners in jail, for instance. They have nothing but time on their hands to figure out how they're going to get around security set up in situations. Well, no different with this border, okay? Yes, they're going to probably be able to dig under. Yes, they're going to finally find a way to climb over it. But that's going to happen with any type system we put over there. I mean, am I wrong by that? I mean, just, this is just, it's better than not having anything. And from what I'm seeing, it's better than the slats that we're putting up. So can you address that a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, you said it correctly. There is no foolproof system out there. This is a deterrent system. It's a system, though, that could be put out quickly in the time that we need it. Do you want to say something, Dr. Corsi?
Well, in the work I've done, I did a lot of work for the State Department on combating terrorism. I wrote a paper in the 80s that it was a computer model that predicted the outcome of terrorist events, and I was trained by the best psychiatrists. I did a lot of work, and the final analysis, you've got to think about what they call, target hardening. In other words, you want to make it much more difficult. Right now, this 1,200 miles of the border is wide open. I mean, I've been on the border. I wrote the book Minutemen with Jim Gilchrist in 2006. I've been on the border a lot, including with the Border Patrol. And there's just wide areas you can simply walk across. Now, this TerraBlock system, especially being a smart system, is going to take a lot to really break it. I can imagine maybe one time or a few people break it, but it's also reconfigurable. It's mobile. So I try to dig under it. You realize you're digging under it. Well, you move it a few yards. I mean, there's so many flexible solutions. You can detect it because it's a smart wall. You have the ability to combine various kinds of surveillance systems, with this being a very difficult barrier to climb. You can't cut it, can't drive a vehicle through it. And with the unprotected border we have right now, it seems to me, we're facing a criminal drug war. And look at this massacre we just had in Mexico. I don't think we can afford to leave Americans on the border unprotected. We have sponsored, my family, we've sponsored families to come here legally from El Salvador. I'm fully in favor of legal immigration. I think it's great for the country. But I do not think with drug cartels, who are animals, vicious, killing babies, burning them alive. I mean, this was a horrific attack. I don't think we can allow the border to be unprotected any longer. And this TerraBlock solution, President Trump can go to the electorate in November saying, I fulfilled a promise. I did it for $1 billion, and the border is now secure. And we can improve it from there. That's the point. Right now, we're at such a disadvantage that this solution, as soon as I saw it, I said, we've got to bring this to the nation. And I'll tell you, Douglas, getting on your show and having the opportunity to present this to your audience who are, so intensely patriotic to want to secure the border, this is the right audience to learn about this product. And we thank you greatly for the opportunity.
Well, yeah, and thank you guys. We have to work together in everything that we do, to keep making this country the best that it can possibly be. And, without borders, without some type of security, then you just don't have a country. And we already know that there are plenty of people that would prefer that. They don't mind, putting locks on their doors and having big walls built around their homes for the same reason that we need something like that on our borders. It says that it's difficult to climb. What exactly is how is it set up to where someone can't climb it? Is it because of the smallness of the holes that are there, or what exactly stops somebody from scaling it, let's say?
Chris,
So the nature of the fence, yes, the nature of the fence structure is built around a 358 mesh system. It's a welded wire system that's tightly knit and woven. You can't put a finger through one of those gaps. So you can't scale it from that perspective. It gives you some of the requirements that the government wanted to have, a visual see-through passage, because you have those gaps. It gives you the ability to not only provide that anti-climbing mechanism, but also the vehicle deterrent, as we're seeing in that video repeating.
Hey, Doug.
Hey,
Doug, if you don't mind,
Yeah, go ahead,
this is producer Dustin. I'm watching the chat. So a couple of things. I just want to point out quickly to the audience. So the numbers that we have from Customs and Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security now is there's roughly 650 miles of the border that has some type of barrier, whether that be slats, roadblocks, etc. That's mainly what President Trump has been rebuilding, are the slats in those areas. Then there's roughly 12 to 1,300 miles of nothing, wide open. So this is what we're addressing right now. Are we going to have a 35-foot tall steel reinforced concrete wall across those 12 to 1,300 miles by the election? No, there's not even plans to do that. There's not the funding to do that. So on this show, what we're trying to focus on is introducing you to solutions. We have to start bringing forward real solutions, putting these solutions in the laps of the politicians, and then saying why. Why will you not spend $1 billion, work in cooperation with HESCO, with Chris's company, and then with the Army Corps of Engineers to install this system? Something that just came up, I just want you to address because everyone's asking. So you told me on the phone today, it's roughly about 3 meters, roughly 10 feet high, but when you add your coiled barbed wire system on the top, it brings it up about another 3 feet. Again, it's not a solution that's going to be a catch-all, but my opinion is if it stops 10% of the flow, 20% of the flow, 50% of the flow, if you couple this with the PID technology you're talking about, and then with either Border Patrol and or National Guard response teams, that when they know someone's trying to breach it, they can respond. You know, in my eyes, the numbers can go up to 70, 80%. I don't understand. You're never going to get 100%, and we're never going to get that 35-foot tall concrete wall, especially by the election. This is an immediate solution. Then we can look for other solutions, but this is an immediate solution that can happen right now.
I think that's the key. That's the key point. I want to make a point. Let Chris address this too. That look, the 35-foot wall. When you think about, we want a wall. Sure, that's the first idea that comes to mind. This is a modern technological solution. I mean, I go way back. I watched television in black and white, little tiny tube. Well, today I watch television on a cell phone, and it's much better. It's live streaming as we're doing right now. So let's not think about the structure as being this wall, this 35-foot wall. Let's think about it being the kind of barrier. Rapid deployment is critical. And then secondly, flexibility, modular, and the ability to have it be secure and smart so that it can combine with other systems such that our Border Patrol, which I've spent time with, are increasingly sophisticated technologically, can use this as a tool, which this 1,200 miles, President Trump can come to the American people and say, I secured it. If we were going to have to build these 35 feet tall things, it's going to cost us $22 billion. I don't know how many years it would take. We need really flat land to put these in. A lot of the land in Texas is not flat. And the Congress was never going to appropriate this. So I didn't need Congress. I mean, these are the key points, I think, that add to the fact that we got to look for real solutions that really work. And that's where the TerraBlock solution really drew my attention immediately. Chris, you want to comment on that?
Thank you. The TerraBlock is the first step in this grand solution that our government needs. You know, you referenced a prison before. Prison yards have all these tall fences with barbed wire at top. They also have posts. So we need to understand the pre-positioned post with the government, how many tactical teams they envision that they're going to be placing. So there's a family of different products within the TerraBlock suite. And based on the geographical terrain, we're going to identify with our team of engineers the right solution for the right placement in each of those geographical areas. HESCO is owned by a company called Presidia. Presidia has a number of intrusion detection systems of different brands. The intent is to put the TerraBlock system in place as one component and then combine it with other smart technology. We spoke about this being a smart wall. That smart wall is a PID system. It detects vibration. So that vibration will send a signal. But there are other means of technology that we could leverage in this Presidia family with radar detection in possible some terrain where we can't put any type of structure in place. So again, the TerraBlock solution is the first step in meeting this requirement.
What, talking about barbed wire, what do we have at the top of this fence?
So we envision that there's going to be a tightly woven coiled barbed wire. I believe you referenced before. It exceeds the height, and it's maxing out at 3.9 meters presently.
Hey, one more quick question that keeps coming up in the chat. I actually got some people texting me. How long does the and again, we're talking about adding other elements, bringing different systems together, but overall, how long does the TerraBlock system last? What's its lifespan without it being crashed into by a truck, as in the demo?
I believe they have it marked with a 10-year lifespan. I'd have to confirm that, but I believe that's what it's supporting currently.
Right, and again, to the audience, I mean, the thing that, well, I went to school for industrial design, so finally I'm excited about seeing something like this because this is what I should have went into. But no, it's modular, and that's the nice part. If part of it gets destroyed, you can connect a new piece. You can move sections around. If one area, 1 mile stretch isn't working the way we planned, you can replace it. As you told me on the phone, there's several different types of systems within the TerraBlock family that could be deployed depending on the terrain and the landscape as well, correct?
That's correct.
And see, the other part of this is that if it needs to be moved or repositioned, I mean, let's say you've got these big 35-foot walls, which, again, I'm not really, I think those serve a purpose too. But the point is, if we reach some agreements with Mexico, if we, you know, what 10 years from now is a long time. And what we've got to worry about is the damage that's being done between now and the next 10 years. We might be able, with solutions that President Trump is talking about, to make some massive impact on the drug cartels. And one thing we could do is, you know, end the money laundering that the banks have done. I caught HSBC money laundering 2012 for banks, the huge bank with money from Mexican drug cartels. There's many solutions to these problems, and the TerraBlock allows us to say, okay, we're going to stop the hemorrhaging at the border of criminals and drug cartels. That's the real focus here. And it's important to understand that the border is not, you know, poor families who are heartbroken in Guatemala and need a better life and are coming to escape violence. The border is controlled by the coyotes and the drug cartels. You don't get close to that border without being raped, your property taken from you, paying enormous amounts of money to get to the border. This is organized criminal activity we're dealing with in Mexico, and we have to deal with it that way in order to protect the Americans on the border and to protect our national security. That's why I'm looking for and have been looking for a solution that works, that we can put in place now, not 10 years from now, not at $22 billion, but $1 billion done by election day is very appealing.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that point you made real quick, because I'm looking at the chat again. Some people are saying, well, we've seen what Brian Colfage and We Build the Wall group did with Fisher Construction Company, where they built some big wall up along the side of a hill. And what I was telling people today responding to that is, yeah, okay, that's great, and I hope they continue to do it. In the meantime, there's 1,200 to 1,300 miles that are wide open where we can deploy a solution like this. And then, yes, let Brian Colfage and that crew go and keep buying private land and building, and we start pulling TerraBlock out and building big pieces. But right now, we need to plug this hole. This has been the fight for the last 15 to 30 years, really since the days of Reagan, and we've gotten nothing accomplished. We keep talking, and everyone that's saying, well, it's not going to stop everything in tunneling. No, but if it can stop a percentage of the flow, we are much better off tomorrow than we are today.
Yeah, we talk about the 1,200 miles. We talk about the 1,200 miles and putting things in perspective of a rapid deployment. From the time that an order could potentially be executed, we're talking 6 months to deploy 1,200 miles of product. 6 months. Manufacturing the product, deploying the product.
And I just want to bring up, because you said on the phone with me earlier today, the concept is that you guys would work in cooperation with the Army Corps of Engineers and or the DoD to actually, and you would oversee all the project management, but you would use the Army Corps of Engineers to actually do the installation, correct?
That's the ideal proposal. That's the best way I believe the government will save additional funds without bringing additional contractors in for doing labor components to this.
Yeah, and the military is already used to doing it.
Right. And, again, it's the same idea when so we're sending troops over to a combat zone in the Middle East. First of all, it's imperative you get the perimeter defenses up immediately. You can't say, wait a minute, guys, it's going to take us a month, or wait, we have to get an allocation for a 35-foot wall. You've got to have the same sense of urgency right now on the border, because it always gets framed as a humanitarian crisis. Well, look, the humanitarian crisis, I'm happy to solve in a legal fashion. It can be solved in a legal fashion. It's the criminals, the drug cartels, the violence, the inability to know who's coming across the border, the gangs from El Salvador, the criminal tattooed gangs. These are the criminal elements that we want to make sure we keep out. And so, to me, looking at what solves the problem for the military and applying that to the border is a kind of out-of-the-box solution that I think opens up a new way of looking at the problem. We're not looking for 100% you can keep everybody out, but it will make it much more difficult, and it will deter a lot of people. Even for the criminals, they're now going to be faced with another barrier that can be reinforced with military, can be reinforced with border patrol, electronics, surveillance, so that we actually have a modern day solution to a very serious law enforcement problem. That's the way I think the border needs to be defined.
I just want to address something else I'm seeing in the chat. So some people are saying, let's do a cost-benefit analysis, my opinion, not cost-effective. Now, let's say they can deliver the actual physical material ready to go for $1 billion. Let's say you added another $1 billion in technology and smart technology. You have the Army Corps of Engineers that we're paying anyway to put this thing up. And again, we couple this with Border Patrol rapid response teams, National Guard rapid response teams. It's very cost effective, especially considering that illegal immigration costs us over $100 billion a year. Everyone keeps saying, let's do it right the first time. Well, okay, what do you want to wait? You want to wait another year till after the election? Maybe you get a Republican House. Maybe you hold the Senate. The Republicans held the House the first 2 years of Trump. They didn't give us anything. So right now, I don't think we have time to wait again. This is the beginning of I'm telling you, if Trump started deploying this, you watch the Democrats come to the table, because they are not going to be happy about this going up. And Dr. Corsi, can you address how you, from what I've heard, you guys have a proposal that's worked its way up to the Oval Office, and we just want to know, from the political side, from the legal side, you were saying that the money's already been allocated technically by what Trump was able to pull out of the DOD fund. So you're saying he can do this without going to the Democrats, without going to the Senate, and do this through an executive order?
Oh, that's as far as I understand. I've looked at it and researched it. The money has been allocated. The DOD budget has easily allocated $1 billion more for construction of the wall. And the president can simply make an executive decision, executive order to do this. Now, the way it works, and I've done a lot of work over the going back to when I wrote Unfit for Command and on the Swift boat issue. I know how the politics works. It's not just getting a proposal to the White House. It's what we're doing on this show today is extremely important because Washington responds when the people demand. I mean, the congressional offices are small. People begin calling their Congress person and 20, 30, 40 calls. These offices are beginning to notice. The White House switchboard, they tell the president, we're getting these calls on TerraBlock. We don't even know what it is, but everybody's talking about it. Well, pretty soon President Trump's going to say, okay, now what is TerraBlock? And that he has a proposal on his desk doesn't mean that there's so many things that go on in the president's mind every day that coming from the people up to say
Dr. Corsi frames
it reframes the entire discussion, and that's why this program is so important.
Amen. And that's one thing that our audience definitely needs to do, folks. I mean, I couldn't have said that any better. I'm always telling everyone, listen, you've got to reach out daily, if you can, to members of Congress, members that are in not only your districts, in your state, in your counties, your senators, your congressmen, but also everyone else, and especially the upper leadership. They don't like to hear my name up in Washington, D.C. these days because of all the phone calls I make and and on Twitter and on Facebook and the videos that I do. Funny thing is, I just got asked actually tonight to take down some information that I did on the election that's coming up here for a new governor in Louisiana. And that's not going to happen. But if the people make the phone calls, share this video, put it out there on all your social media platforms, that's how we make this take place. That's how we get it noticed. That's how we get the interest of the people that actually care to secure this. Now, one of the thoughts that came to mind, and I don't know if either one of y'all know the answer to this, but I know from past exposure that what we've seen through our government is there are times when a lot of different companies get in on deals to help something with the government. Do we know exactly how many companies right now are currently building concrete barriers down there on our border?
I don't have the total number. I do know about a month ago, there was an award by the DHS to 3 companies for a little over $800 million for 65 miles of border. 65 miles, 800 million.
Jeez.
I know there are more companies, but that's the most recent.
And the other thing is that, look, the point is, HESCO has already been working on the border. There's HESCO workers today using HESCO product on the existing border. We're coming in with Chris's company, Provengo, as a supplier, and HESCO as the manufacturer. These are companies who are known in Washington. Now, the technical solutions here and the discussion of the technical issues, I'm sure, will be debated and reviewed at DOD. There will be competitors, but you have a robust set of systems here with TerraBlock that I think are going to show the application to military will be transferable to the border situation. And all the specifications, there are various technical papers available on the internet on TerraBlock that show the specifications of the product and the not just the videos, but also technical papers. And I've been posting those and will continue to do so on my Twitter account, which is Jerome_Corsi, at Jerome_Corsi, all lowercase. And I'm not nearly as technically, I'm not an engineer. I mean, Chris has got the engineers and the technical background. So I'm sure, Chris, as the company gets questioned by DoD or the public, the technical questions can be answered because the applications have already been made. Am I correct on that, Chris?
That is correct, but I will correct you. I'm not an engineer.
Well, I'll say that's your plus. I mean, maybe maybe not, but you know.
I like to put the smart people around me. No, what the envision is, which I alluded to earlier, we will bring a team in of engineers, identify the complete landscape of the 1,200-mile terrain, and identify the right solution for each of those installations, and then identify additional components within that family of products that can aid in building more smart technology around the solution.
Where is this? Where's the company building the product right now?
It's in the UK.
Okay. Well, if my producer would agree, we should take off to the UK and go do a live video stream from there on the building of this product so we can show it. I don't think that's going to happen. Guys, I'm 100% on board with this. And we will do everything on our end to keep putting the word out there. And for the people that subscribe to us and are part of this program and watch us on YouTube and at DouglasDucote.com, listen, you've got to get the information out there. You've got to share this with your family, with your friends, and on all your social media platforms. That is very, very important. The more, it's the squeaky wheel that gets the most grease. Listen, we've got to make this happen. I've been down there. I've shown y'all this. I reported. I spent my birthday, April 17th, down there, letting you know what we have going on down there on that border and how horrible it was, and showed you sections and sections of land that has absolutely, you can just walk right across. Okay, you can drive across. There's no border there or no wall there, nothing to stop these bad elements from coming across and then doing more danger to us here in America. So I can't stress enough that we've got to push this product and let it be a household name. Have people wanting to know, what is this? And I strongly believe, from everything I've seen and heard so far, that this is the answer that we've been looking for. Because without this, come 2020, there's not going to be a wall built, folks. It's going to take a long time and a lot of money that we don't have to continue to do concrete construction.
Yeah, and Douglas, real quick, I just want to say, and to the audience out there, there's always going to be naysayers. I know everyone is in a very negative mood lately because we're not seeing deep state arrests and all these other things. But look, the way I look at this thing is, if you build a wall around your house, but there's a chance that people can scale it or tunnel under it, is that going to deter you from building that layer of protection? You could put an alarm system on your house. Certain crooks could still break in and get in and steal things and harm your family. You could have your weapon to defend yourself, and you might still get shot. So why are you sitting here and saying, well, let's wait till we get the money to do the whole thing? We're 3 years into Donald Trump's presidency. There's no plan for 1,200 miles in that area. You're saying you want to wait for the 4 years? The new reports just came out. We believe over 600,000 illegal aliens got in, broke into the country this last year. Over 1 million came and showed up, and we're releasing them all over the country. If we don't have a barrier, forget about it. It's done and over with. So why would you not get behind a solution that can be deployed quickly, even if accepted as this, a temporary solution to plug the hole while we start to work on building larger sections of concrete wall? It's a no-brainer, and if you don't get behind it, it basically says to me that you're not serious about wanting to solve this problem. And I also would challenge President Trump as well, as this moves up the chain, and he's got this and he's looked at it and you know it, it's on him to explain to us why he won't deploy a system like this. I think in combination with what Doug talked about in April, which is deploying National Guard under presidential command, it would be a perfect situation to couple National Guard response teams with this wall and the smart technology. Right now, that's the best we can get. It's doable, it's affordable, it can be deployed quickly, and it can be done without a congressional bill. So it's a win-win. There's no losing in this at all.
I agree, 100%. To both of you, Chris, and give us a closing statement, I guess, basically about the product and what we've got here that we're going to push with.
Chris, why don't you go first?
It's continuing on what we've heard this whole segment. It's a need. It solves a problem. It's a solution that meets a desperate need for our country right now. Fast deployment, fast building, giving our country the ability to save money, countless dollars, and putting in that level of protection that we've never had. You know, this platform that you've given me to share with your audience, Doug and Dr. Causey, I just want to thank both of you, for helping us get this word and this message out there about this product. Now, for those that don't know the brand HESCO is a household name within the U.S. Armed Forces on a whole host of different products. So it's a family of product that knows our U.S. military and the importance of infrastructure and reliability of products. And I think that this is a huge opportunity for us to share it with everyone. And I thank you.
Excellent.
And Doug, I just want to thank you, Doug, for the opportunity. I mean, we're committed, Chris and I, to your audience. We're very, very thankful for the opportunity to present the TerraBlock product and solution. And we're happy to answer the questions. There are many questions. There's people have legitimate concerns. We want to answer them. We want to be honest in the answers and to admit, what we can do and what is going to want to be done yet. And no solution is going to be perfect. But what the impact here is the opportunity to change the national dialogue, which, Douglas, your audience has. And we want to just give you our heartfelt thanks, but additionally, our commitment that whatever you need for us to continue explaining the story, you just call on us and we'll be happy to be there.
And thank you both very much for coming on and sharing this. Like I said, Team Ducote is on board. I personally want to see this system get put on that border tomorrow if we could make it happen that quick. You both are great American patriots. Thank you so much. You've shared a lot of information with us, and I do believe that those that watch the program are going to do exactly what we need to have them do to help us make America great and keep America moving forward 2020 and beyond to do what it takes to keep Americans safe. So thank you both. God bless you. And we'll be seeing you soon. I want to continue to talk about this product and move forward to getting it out there.
Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless your great audience. Thank you. We appreciate being with you tonight.
Thank you. All right. We will be back shortly with Madeline Rose, and we're going to discuss the young conservative, Republican, liberal, Democrat voters out there and how we can continue to reach out to them and let them see factual information about what's happening and get them on board with us so that we can make America great, keep America great. So we'll be right back, folks, with Madeline Rose. Hello, American patriots. Douglas Ducote here. The Second Amendment, it's not for hunting. It's for protecting ourselves against our government. Well, the last thing you need to worry about is your weapon being rusted and not working. Folks, here's your product. FirearmGuard.com. Use promo code Doug for free shipping. This will protect your weapon from any rust and mildew issues.
You need to get off your ass and you need to work for it. Nobody's going to give you shit. Nobody's going to give you a handout. All right? That's how our parents taught us. And we knew that when we go through high school, we want good grades and we want to stay on the good side of the law and we want to go to college. And in the meantime, we're going to have to get a job. Our parents aren't going to give a shit. Okay? You're going to buy your own car. You're going to buy your own insurance. You're going to buy your own gas. All right? And then those jobs are minimum wage jobs. They're just a stepping stone to where you're going to be one day when you get out of college and actually get a career in something, whether you went in the military or what have you.
That's not true.
That's how we were raised.
Most people working a minimum wage job are adults. They are not high school kids.
Then they're a failure.
Excuse me?
If you're an adult that doesn't have anything else going on for you but working in McDonald's, then somewhere along the line you made a mistake, because the jobs are available, the schooling is available, especially if you're a minority. Especially.
All I have to say is I think you need to have more compassion for fellow Americans.
I have more compassion than you could ever. 4 combat tours helping oppress, get those that are oppressed freed.
What about veterans working minimum wage jobs right now?
Where?
Did they not work hard enough?
Where's a veteran? I'm a 100% disabled veteran, by the way, with PTSD after serving 4 combat tours. I can assure you there's no veterans out there making minimum wage. If they are, they failed through the system because the VA didn't help them, and the VA didn't help them because the government failed them, and the government failed them because the VA system is broke.
I love that interview. Madeline Rose, hello, young lady. How are you?
I'm good. Actually, it's Magdalene Rose. My mom wanted me to tell you that. Magdalene Rose.
I have not slept in 48 hours. I'm very, very sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Tired. And I'll probably get to sleep at about 2 a.m. If I'm lucky, because I'll be heading down to New Orleans tonight for a conference tomorrow. And then I got to continue on down to Florida for some stuff I'm going to be doing down there as we get ready for Veterans Day. And then hopefully first part of next week, I'll be back home and continue to start this all over again. What did you think of that interview with the with us in Politicon? Did you get a chance to watch all those?
I did. And what I thought was interesting was that the kid that seemed like he was the youngest, the one with the dark hair that was poofed up, he was the one that seemed to be the most open to discussion. Whereas the older the person got in that situation, the more diehard they were. And I think that's because the younger kid with the dark hair, he's more my generation, which is Generation Z. And that whack job who was yelling and trying to grab the mic, he's more of a millennial. And millennials grew up really obsessed with Obama. My generation grew up skeptical and gaming and very aware of the housing crisis. So it's my generation that matters now, because millennials are sort of a foregone conclusion because of how diehard they are. And that's one of the main takeaways, was you could see the slight generational divide in how they were talking to you. The other two were embarrassed by the older guy.
Oh yeah, towards the end, they were just like almost unfriending him.
Yes,
as it was unfolding.
Yes.
It was very difficult to, what I have to do is I have to be able to communicate facts with all the different generations. You know, when I'm somewhere in an event and I'm talking to people that are my age and older, there's one way of doing that. And then when I'm talking to younger generation, my kids' age and so forth, that's, another way. And I hope that I bridged the gap fairly decently when we were down there. The feedback I received from the videos were great. We even received feedback from one of the gentlemen that was in that interview saying that, hey, thank you, for talking to us.
Yeah.
and, helping us understand that, there are other things to consider and look at. And when you say socialist, that was one of the biggest things I believe that they couldn't grasp, was that they don't want to compare Bernie Sanders, for instance, or Kamala Harris, or Cory Booker, or Pocahontas, or any of those as the socialists that
Right.
we've seen in history. They want to
Right.
show them as something totally different. And it's hard to get them to grasp that, no, it's all the same. And we've watched it fail everywhere drastically.
It is difficult. And I think one of the things is that Bernie has, in a very specific way, melded in really populist tendencies with how he riles people up and socialist economic policies. What these kids want, and I heard one kid say that he liked what Trump had done with NATO, they want a populist president. The issue that they're having is that the Republican Party is the leadership very attached to having no restrictions on free market, no restrictions on anything. So it looks like it's a corporation party. So these kids don't understand that they could have a more populist president, especially in things like foreign policy or criminal justice reform. But they're stuck in this we have to save everyone mentality that Bernie Sanders is pushing. And he pushes that because he's always had an issue with getting minority voters out for him. He does not poll well with them. And he knows that if he abandons the social justice warrior stuff, they're not going to vote for him in the primary. And he had a very similar situation in 2016 where those voters went for Hillary Clinton, even though a lot of white people who were very economic focused were going for Bernie Sanders in all ages.
Yeah. That's, one of the things that I, at least when I look at, I think back to my youth, and when it came to people that we wanted to see get elected in Congress or become the president, our youth time was not, we weren't wanting to see older people get those positions. We were wanting to see people that were, in their 30s, in their 40s get those positions. Today, Bernie has, I think the average age at any of his rallies are probably, 21, 22-year-olds.
Yeah,
and
it's a really good point.
It's interesting to see that. And then you go to a Trump rally and you have every age almost equally across there in massive amounts. Thank God. But so with your Twitter, with your YouTube, how do you feel what you're expressing and what you're talking about is being receptive? Are you having any pushback, or are you finding that the younger generation is listening to you and educating themselves with what you're explaining?
Well, I have, I would say, two groups of young conservatives that follow me, people who are more traditional, people who are what you would consider a conservative, pro-life, small business, reasonable restrictions on foreign policy, that kind of people. And then I have the more libertarian skewed young conservatives who are more lenient on social issues and follow me because I have good strategic advice. And of those two groups, I feel like my message of talking about things behind candidates, talking about how we can get people elected resonates really well. With young liberals that I talk to, one of the main things that I'm able to find a lot of common ground on is foreign policy. And you saw that in your interview. They don't want to be the policeman of the world. And I think that that's a topic that's really resonating. I discuss foreign policy a lot with young liberals, and they say to me, well, even Elizabeth Warren, she's too much into that. We have to police everybody. We have to be everyone's babysitter. We like Trump on that. If Trump ran a little harder on foreign policy, I think he could sway away a lot of young people who are not necessarily social justice warriors, but are passionate, very, very passionate about making sure we're not in a lot of wars. And you mentioned Bernie Sanders. Why, if he's an old guy, does he have all these young people so actively excited about him? Because there's no strong enough, even 30-year-old in the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party, their young leaders, They don't have the ability to survive past whatever news or political cycle they're in. So there isn't anyone to go to. Bernie is the last chance because Elizabeth Warren is still too much establishment for them.
What do you think is going to happen when Bernie doesn't get selected? Because I'm pretty convinced that it's not going to happen.
Bernie. No. I think it depends on who it is. If it's Joe Biden, you're going to see an open revolt. And you're already seeing the op-eds from Democrat strategists. If you watch snippets of Young Turks, of those really deep shows, they talk about the fact that they're going to be very angry and the DNC is not going to listen. If you have Elizabeth Warren, and Elizabeth Warren is one of the people I want Trump to go up against the least, and this is why. She can make enough of Bernie's supporters comfortable with saying she's going to be far left enough for them. And she can also resonate enough with Iowa voters and New Hampshire voters because she's going to talk about stopping banks, but she's going to talk about it in a way that seems very moderate and seems very fighting for the little guy. I think if they pick Biden, if they pick Booker, if they pick Kamala Harris, it's not going to go well. But if they pick Elizabeth Warren, she could build a coalition that could be very deadly for Trump.
That's interesting. Yeah, I agree. I heard just today, actually, that she's, her chances are getting slimmer. What concerns me and a lot of those that subscribe to my program is that there's a possibility of seeing someone having to come out of the woods, let's say, to go up against Trump, enter this race that hasn't already done so, because the field that's there right now is collapsing on themselves. I worry, and what's your take on this, if Hillary jumps back in there, or my worst case scenario would be Michelle Obama.
Well, the thing with Hillary, and people don't always realize this, Hillary has had a very die-hard group of female supporters since 2008. It was Women for Hillary. She's had a group of women across this country that genuinely believe she should be president. There was a little bit of rebellion in 2008 against Obama when he was the nominee, feeling that he had taken it from Hillary. Hillary's support is in that group of people and establishment people who just need her to go in so they can continue with the rank and file stuff. She has no youth support. She was who they went for because they had to, but she's not somebody who should be heavily supported. I don't think she's up to being a presidential candidate. I'm not saying that because she's a woman. I'm saying that because I don't see what she runs on other than we hate Trump. And if you don't have the youth support, you can't do that. You can't just run on we hate Trump. Michelle Obama, I understand people are afraid of Michelle Obama, but I think people also have to understand that the Democrat field is running away from the Obamas right now. And there's a reason for that. They're running away from them because Barack Obama was not far left enough for them. There's a reason why you're hearing, I believe it was de Blasio criticize Obama. There's a reason why you're hearing that. It's because a lot of young activists, especially with Obama's recently woke comments, feel that Obama was not up to the standard that they should have had. He was not pushing enough severe gun restrictions or immigration restrictions. So Michelle Obama will carry the legacy of her husband, and that will not help her in the youth area.
What I love about talking to you is you educate me.
Yes.
and I need that. I really do. I have my kids that that have their own opinions, and we can discuss certain things with politics. But I always come away from, when I talk to you, of having a better grasp on what's happening with the youth vote. And, I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. You guys and girls are literally the future of America. You are the next leaders of America. Yeah. When I'm dead and gone, what am I leaving America to? Will my service to the country have been in vain? So I can't stress enough how we've got to continue to reach the young American voter and get them engaged and get them to understand, to stop listening to not stop listening to the Democrats, but at least open their eyes and be able to listen and hear and fact check what Republicans and conservatives are saying. And I find too often that many of them, it's just, this is, my parents voted this way, so that's the way I'm going to vote, and that's the way my friends are voting, and they really don't have a grasp of not even the history of America. When I go into the schools and I talk to kids in high school, even in some colleges, I'm blown away at the information that they don't have. When they ask me afterwards, come up and say, what was Desert Storm?
I didn't learn about Desert Storm.
Tell me about that again. That's right. I remember you telling me that. You didn't even learn about that.
No.
And I think as we move on, more and more teachers are not going to want to talk about the Middle East wars because, it's racist, or it's, not politically correct. So we bury stuff like that, which is, the worst thing we can do, because, we will repeat history all over again if we don't understand it and, educate ourselves on what our forefathers went through, to make, they gave, this, but the audience needs to understand this. Our forefathers gave us the greatest opportunities of any country on God's earth. And we today have a large percentage of Americans that don't have a clue about not only what they gave us and the sacrifices, but those that came after them and what they did for this country. So I commend you and will continue to do so for all the work that you're doing and reaching out there. Tell the audience again where they can follow you.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Periscope at Magdalene Rose, MAHGDALEN Rose. And you can especially follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm the most active, and live streams are always up at least twice a week. And you can also watch my show on Caravans Midnight every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Excellent. Folks, go check her out. She is the future of America. She might not want to be the president, but I do believe that one day she's going to be doing something really, really great, helping this country out. And what she's doing right now is amazing. And I thank you. My audience thanks you. And you're always welcome on our show. You are a great American patriot.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. You have a blessed evening. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with some closing statements. So hang in there, and we'll be back in just a moment. I count on you to be a part of Team Ducote to help us as we build this team to 2020 and beyond.
I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
Hello, American patriots. Listen, to bring you this content and the Douglas Ducote Show and the videos, there are only a few ways that this can be accomplished. Subscriptions, which in the future we will have, sponsors, and we've been blessed to have some wonderful conservative sponsors, donations, and we're grateful for all those that we get. Otherwise, you have to go to corporate sponsors. And corporate sponsors do what? Well, if you watch the big news networks, the big sponsors have you do what they want you to do, and they hold that money over you. That is something that we don't want to do here. We want to remain independent so that we can continue to bring you the truth about what's happening in America and not what some corporate sponsor wants us to tell you. It's all about being factual, getting the truth out there to you, the American people. Folks, your donations help us with all the things that we're already doing. For instance, when we go to the border, or we go from Brownsville, Texas, all the way to San Diego, California, that requires a lot of work, camera equipment and so forth, security, transportation. And between now and then, I'm going to be making some special smaller trips to the border to bring you information that is happening. And there's many, many other projects that we have as we move forward to 2020 and beyond, where we will do this as a team. I count on you to be a part of Team Ducote so that we can be independent and reach out to all Americans to show them the truth of what is happening. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all the donations that you're able to give.
Protect your guns and ammo from moisture, mildew, and rust. Use promo code OBC for free shipping on your next purchase. Made in America by Americans. Lifetime warranted. FirearmGuard.com.
And we're back. Folks, I hope that we were able to share with you information tonight that is going to be helpful for our country. I'm very, very passionate about the direction that our country is going in. President Trump is one man. He's doing everything he can in his power, and he is up against an enemy, basically, like no other president has ever encountered. Don't take my word for it. Check it. Look at it. Look at the history of American presidents. Read some books on American presidents. Hell, you don't even have to buy them. Go to your library and check them out. All right? What he is up against is devastating. And it's up to us to help him make this happen. He can't do it by himself. We, the American patriots of this country, have to get involved. We have to make the phone calls to our members of Congress and members of Congress that aren't in our districts. We have to go on social media and we have to address them and their liberal ideology, from the border and open borders to this entire witch hunt of impeachment that's going on right now. All right. Every day, more things break that are proving without a doubt. Well, you know, you read the transcript, or you've watched me read the transcript and then get chastised by social media for doing it. You know, YouTube didn't like me reading the transcript. Facebook didn't like me reading the transcript. And Twitter, didn't like me reading the transcript. Just can't quite grasp that at all. But we read it. He released it. It's over with, but yet it's not. They continue to spend your hard-earned tax dollars, wasting it away. They tried to impeach him with Stormy Daniels. It didn't work. She's having to pay his attorneys. They tried to impeach him over the college scandal. Didn't work. They tried to impeach him over the Trump Tower stuff. Didn't work. The Russia witch hunt, the Mueller probe, none of it worked. And now we have this. Out of all the things that they tried to impeach him about already, this is comical. But it's sad that he has to go through this. And even more so, that they continue to blow through our money, our hard-earned dollars. So we got you some information about this border wall, this terror block system. Now it is up to you to get on the phone, get an email, get on social media accounts of all of your senators and members of Congress, and let them know you want to see this system deployed on the border. It is the most, it's the solution. I'm telling you, out of everything that's been brought forth so far that I've seen and went down there and seen with my own eyes, this is the answer. And President Trump needs to be able to say, come election time, I made that promise. I kept that promise to you that I'd secure that border. And this is a quick fix to take place immediately. All right? We've got to have this. So it's up to us to push this and get it out there and tell everybody about it. And God willing, President Trump, and we know he's going to see it. We know the proposal's there. Now, call the White House switchboard, like they were mentioning, and, constantly tell them, make sure the president checks into this. We want this. This is the solution. And God willing, he's going to go with it and do an executive order or whatever he has to do. The money's already there. Put the terror block system in place. It's already in a government contract helping protect American forces overseas. Guess what? It can protect American citizens right here in our own country by stopping or at least slowing down. Nothing's going to ever stop what's happening on the border, but it's a deterrent. It's something to slow down the sex trafficking, the drug trafficking, the MS-13 gang members coming across, those that have felony convictions, murderers, rapists. If nothing else, it gives them one more obstacle after they've trekked across the desert and the elements and against wild animals and snakes or swam the river. Now they've got the terror block to go up against. Folks, it's up to you and me to make it happen. I would like to say, again, a special thank you to Dr. Jerome Corsi and to Chris Barbarino for coming on and sharing this information with us. We're going to continue to talk about this. We're going to continue to push this, and I hope that you will too. It is something that we must do. And also to Magdalene Rose, thank you so much for sharing with us, the youth vote. We've got to have them be a part of what we're doing. And there's our producer, Dustin. What can we add to this?
Good. I just want to let everyone know, because we got it locked in. So next Tuesday is going to be a really great show. The day after Veterans Day, we got Chad Robichaud coming on. He was a former Force Recon Marine, pro mixed martial arts champion, and founder of the Mighty Oaks Foundation. He also works with PTSD veterans, as Doug does. That's going to be a fantastic show. And on Thursday next week, we've locked in Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. He was a congressman out of Florida. He's currently running for Texas GOP chairman. Alan West, if people don't remember, was a Tea Party firebrand. The Republicans, the establishment Republicans, feared him so much they gerrymandered his district and forced him out of Congress, but he stood his ground. He never sold out his principles and values on that. So he's running for Texas GOP chairman. He's going to try to save Texas and make sure it doesn't go blue. And I think Magdalene Rose is going to come back on and talk about some research she's been doing in what happened in the Virginia race with the GOP basically doing nothing to help their candidates. So that show Thursday will be the future of the GOP 2020 and beyond. And again, we're going to start bringing on guests, talking about solutions to these problems, and really hope that you guys get on board with helping push these solutions. You know, the bickering, the whining, the bitching, complaining, we could do that all day long, but we need to start bringing solutions to the table. We have to do that, and then we have to demand our politicians, our elected officials, our public servants, even our president. We are delivering solutions. Why won't you embrace the solutions? That's what we have to do. Have to hold these people's feet to the fire, have to be loud and noisy so they can see these proposals and see these solutions. You know, I think what we talked about tonight, with a combination of TerraBlock, a combination of smart technology, and a combination of what Doug addressed in April with the 250,000 National Guard deployed, and now there's a purpose because they could be the rapid response team with a system, a physical system like TerraBlock. Is it the end-all, be-all? Is it the fix-all? No, it's not. Nothing is. But it's the beginning of plugging the 1,200 miles. And every show you know out there, you know, American Joe, I'm going to send this stuff over to him. Everyone else, you should be picking this up, putting Chris on your show, talking about this solution. We did it tonight because we want to present solutions, and it's up to you, the American people, to filter out the BS, formulate your own opinion. But I think we got to stop complaining and say, well, it's not 100 feet deep and it's not 100 feet high. We know that. We know that. That's what we all want. But right now, it's cost effective. It could be done, and we could put National Guard on the border. And as Doug has talked to a lot of them, they would be glad to be protecting our southern border and securing our country.
Yeah, a lot more than Afghanistan or Iraq, for sure. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Shout out to all of Team Ducote, Dustin Gold, Chrissy Piccolo, Marilyn Williams. We are doing this for you, the American patriots. We will continue to bring you the truth. We will continue to say, hey, if I put out anything that you think isn't correct, go fact check me. And I'm the first one. This is what makes me different. And you've already seen it if you watch me, that if you could prove me wrong, and it's only happened twice, I will come out and admit it and do an update and show you the correction. And that's what I believe real journalism should be, bringing you the truth. And when you get something wrong, it's just basic common human dignity, you know, decency to say, hey, I got it wrong, or I'm sorry. But what we do is for you, the American patriot. And we will continue to do that. We will continue to show you what's really happening across America and across the globe, for that matter. Thank you all for tuning into the show tonight. It is always a blessing to be able to do this, and I'm very thankful that I have so many followers on social media. I want to mention, it's something I used to do in the beginning of the show and with my videos, and I haven't done it in a while. Follow me if you're on Twitter at Douglas Ducote, on Facebook, American Patriot by the Grace of God, and also my nonprofit, Veterans United for Justice, on Facebook. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already done so, please go over to douglasducote.com and sign up with your email address. It's free, costs you nothing, and you'll get content that you won't get anywhere else, as well as updated information about what we're doing, where we're going, the places we're going to be at, from the border to Washington, D.C., to Nashville, and on as we move forward to 2020 and beyond. It's a team effort. We need you to be a part of this effort and help us make America great again. That's what you want. That's what you deserve. And that's what everyone that fought for the freedoms of this country want, is you and your family to be safe right here in America. You know, I've said it before and I will continue to say it. To me, I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, if you're conservative or liberal. If we send you to Washington, D.C. to work for we the people, and then you forget about we the people and you start doing things for your own, such as, oh, I don't know, you just hate the president, I'm going to call you out. And that's how it should be done. And it's doesn't matter to me what political party you are. We need a Congress and a Senate, a House, a Senate that does the right thing for you, for we the people. And Thursdays, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And we will continue to bring you updated information. And I will continue to be putting out my normal YouTube videos, pissing off the liberals, which I do on a. There's so many things that have recently happened in just the past 24 hours that I haven't had a chance to share with my audience that's going on that I find just comical, with people in government positions that are starting to pay attention to my programs and my videos, and they're not liking them. And as we get close to certain elections, especially here in Louisiana, there are people reaching out to me, asking me to remove things because it doesn't look good for them. And guess what? Sue me, all right? It's not slander. It's not libel if it's the truth. And the truth will always set you free. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, their families, our first responders, our Blue and Gold Star families. Folks, our families serve too. Without them, we have nothing. Our president and our country. God bless you all. I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed evening. And for now, I'm Douglas Ducote, and I'll see you next Tuesday night. Support our movement. Join our cause. Stop by the Douglas Ducote Patriot Shop to get your official Team Ducote apparel and gear.
I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially